Okay guys, in this video I'm going to give you some sales tips that have really helped me through Upwork. I have taken hundreds of sales calls through Upwork, specifically selling Facebook advertising management services, which is what I did on Upwork for a very long time. And so these are the tips that really help me increase my close rate. And if you take all of the advice I give you in this, it really should allow you to close people not only for more and higher retainers, but to increase your overall sales closing rate through Upwork. So let's jump into it. The first thing is, when you start a sales call on Upwork, you're obviously not going to jump straight into business. You're going to need 1 to 2 minutes to just break the ice. And this is where you have a bit of small talk. It can be as simple as, hey, how are you? Where are you calling from? Oh, cool. I went there once when I was 17, blah, blah, blah. It could be anything. Just 1 to 2 minutes to break the ice. And after I do this, I always like to be the one to transition the conversation into business. And I do this usually by saying the same thing. I say, so let's jump into it. I saw your Upwork proposal. I understand you're looking for X. I'd love to start off this call, if it's okay with you, just learning a little bit more about your business and what it is you're trying to achieve specifically with this project. And then I'll tell you about my experience and we'll see if we're a good fit. I always say the same, like it's the same concept of what I say every single time. And that helps create some structure to the call. So now if they accept, which they always do, nobody ever has a problem with that. Now I can start asking them questions about the contract, asking them as much as I want to understand the contract to the best level I can. This is called the discovery. You need to do the discovery before you do any pitch because you don't know what you're pitching yet since you don't really know what they want. The discovery is where you really start to understand what it is that the client specifically wants. So now you're about to start off by asking questions. Ask questions about their problem. And this is where obviously you would have already seen their Upwork proposal. Like for example, this is a client of ours. He's a business intelligence specialist. He works with Power BI and a few other software tools. So before the call, you obviously have seen this, right? You've seen what it is they want to a basic degree. And so from this, formulate your own questions as you're on the call. For example, we're looking for an experienced Power BI developer to join our international analytics team on a long-term basis. Ask them a few things about what they want to use, in this case, in a contextual situation, you'd want to ask them what they want to use Power BI for, how large is the data sets they're analyzing. It could be anything, but it's going to be questions relevant to what you already know. And so this shows 2 things. Number 1, that you're competent enough to ask the right questions. And number 2, that you've read the job description. So it's giving off a good impression. You can almost always close people by asking the right questions. And so I say this because you need to ask questions about their problems because it will make them feel that this person understands exactly what I'm trying to do. They need to feel that the person they're speaking to, aka you, is the right person for the job. And you can do that by asking the right questions. And then give them some advice, right? If they'll start telling you about their problems, they'll start telling you about what they're trying to achieve. Here's where you can use some critical thinking and give some advice. So I would always speak to people who are looking to launch Facebook ad campaigns. And some of them, during the discovery, they'd say, yes, I've been running ads already for 2 years and it's not been profitable. And then I'd start to dive deeper. I'd say, okay, well, how much have you spent on Facebook ads? What kind of ads have you launched? Can you show me them? What kind of ad copy did you use? What is your click-through rate? What was your cost per purchase? I get all this data and I formulate my own deduction based on this. And I say, I can see here that your cost per purchase is really high and also your campaign has a really low CTR. To me, it seems that we need to improve your image ads. Your image ads is really what's costing you more and not getting enough conversions. Now I've given them a recommendation, something that makes them feel that, this person is giving me advice already. He's already trying to understand what is causing this problem. And if you ask the right questions, you can usually make the right deductions enough to impress them. So this is really important. You're asking them questions, the discovery, understand their problem. You're giving them advice and recommendations based on what they're telling you. And now, once you've done with this and you're finished with the discovery, now you can start diving in and specifically pitching your services to match their problem. So this could look something like this. So let's say I understand that their problem is they've ran Facebook ads for 2 years and it's not been profitable. Well, I already know that it's their image ads problem, and I'd start off by saying, look, to tell you a bit about myself, I've been a Facebook ad specialist for the past 7 years. I've worked with all types of brands, from service-based businesses to e-commerce brands, and I've worked with businesses just like yours. I've seen so many cases where companies come to me and their ads have not been performing for the past couple of months, and I see the same situation here. It's really obvious to me that your main problem is your image ads. I'm really confident that if I was to work with you, I can improve this, because what I would do is specifically create much more image ads similar to the one that has performed best for you in the past, and that way we're optimizing, or whatever it is. But you get the point. I'm now tailoring my pitch to their specific problem, and so I put myself in a position where I'm more likely to close them because they feel that my answer is tailored to them. And so I've done my pitch. I've tailored my kind of strategy to what I'm trying to do. You can see I've explained to them the next steps of what I will do, the deliverables. So they clearly see that I've already produced a roadmap from the call. And if you can do that, you show that you really are an expert in your field. This is all that's needed. Ask the right questions, transition it into your pitch, tailor your pitch to their problems, and then tell them that, look, this is what I would do for you. And I really am confident that I can deliver good results. This works almost every single time. Honestly, it takes like majority of the people that I had sales calls with Upwork, the only reason some of them didn't close is because I quoted them too high and they couldn't afford it. It's not that they really didn't want to. A lot of the people that I didn't end up working with told me they really want to work with me and they're trying to negotiate with me, but I wasn't willing to go down. So this works almost every time to encourage the client to want to work with you. And so that's why it's so effective. Now, this is against Upwork's terms of service, so I don't necessarily recommend this. I'm just telling you what I did. I would always try and get their details at the end of the call, their number, their email, because it will help me chase up with them. A lot of the times, reaching out to them a day or 2 days later to ask, if they've made a decision on proceeding usually helps get more people across the line. And usually having a smooth onboarding makes things easier. So I would always email them the onboarding process. And the onboarding process was literally like, step 1, I need access to your Facebook Ads Manager. Step 2, fill out the survey. Step 3, make the payment on Stripe. Again, violates terms of service of Upwork, so I don't necessarily recommend it, but this truthfully is a smooth onboarding that I was able to provide to clients, and it helped get more people across the line. And usually the clients don't mind doing it off of Upwork because they don't have to pay an additional fee. Upwork charges a fee on both ends, the client and the freelancer. But if you prefer to do things through Upwork, it works the same way. You just need to make that a smooth process for them, right? Don't make the process of getting them across the line and make the decision of paying you a complicated one. And I'm going to get into this later about using looms because there's a way to benefit you with this. But essentially, as I mentioned, this is the summary. Small talk, discovery, 5 to 20 minutes. It depends on the client you're speaking to. It can be as short as 5 minutes. It can be as long as 20 minutes, depending on, the vibe of the call and obviously the kind of complexity of the projects. Here is where you ask the right questions to build authority. For example, what did you do? Why did you do it that way when you could have done it this way? So if the client says, oh, we done it like this, you can always challenge them. Sometimes challenging the client respectfully shows that you're an expert in your field. Then you do a moment of introduction and you're like, look, just tell you a bit about myself. I've been a Facebook ad specialist for the past 7 years. I've worked with X, Y, and Z, right? A moment of introduction. And after understanding a bit more about your project, I completely understand what you're looking to do here. And this is the way I would do it, right? So this is where you've done your introduction. You're now pitching based on the things you've learned from the discovery. See, based on what you've told me, I'm confident X, and now you negotiate the price. And when you negotiate the price, despite what you've put as the contract bid, despite what they want, this is how I always used to do it. I say, look, for a project like this, I would love to work with you. I think I could definitely make a dent here, and I think I can deliver some really good performance. Usually for a project like this, I'll charge £1,500 per calendar month. And then I would just halt and see what they say. This is common. The last thing you want to do is say a price and then justify the price, because now you're belittling your own service and your own confidence in the pricing of what you charge. And so that's essentially every single call structure I've ever done through Upwork was always like this. And it's as simple as that. And honestly, you know what makes this substantially easier is having looms in your cover letter. So for example, like I showed you here, this was a client of ours who specifically bids on business intelligence / Power BI related projects. And the cover letter has a loom that matches the title of this. So you can see here, business intelligence developer. Business intelligence developer. This is not by an accident. This Loom video was recorded once, but it's constantly re-uploaded with a title change and then put into the cover letter. The reason that is when you're bidding on 5 or 10 contracts a day, a lot of people that see this cover letter are going to have the impression that you made the video specifically for them, which sets you ahead when you enter the sales call. Because now they've already seen how you talk. They already understand a bit about you. And now that they're more warm than they were before they watched this Loom video. So Loom videos in your cover letters can massively warm people up for your sales calls. And here's a few tips for the Loom videos. Use the best quality microphone. Like, the microphone's way more important than the video. You need a good microphone quality. Nobody's gonna sit through it if your audio sucks. Good lighting. Have some seriously high energy and try and keep it between 2 to 5 minutes. Short video. 2-3 minutes long, introducing yourself. Hey, I came across your contract and I think I'm perfectly suited for what you're looking for. My name is Ali, I'm a Facebook ad specialist. Let me show you some clients I've worked with in the past. I definitely think I can support your project. Simple as that. 2-3 minutes long, high energy, good audio, good lighting. And use Loom. It's really important that you use Loom so that, you know, people trust Loom as a URL, so more people will click on it. And try and get it in one shot. You don't want a video where you're constantly chopping it up. It needs to be one take, authentic, as if you recorded it in the moment. You obviously want to look sharp and look your best. You don't want to look scruffy. And be comfortable, right? This might take you 20 attempts, but you only need to finish it once. So do it enough times that you feel that that take was perfect. And in terms of structure, you know, you open up with, I came across your job proposal. I think my skills are perfectly suited for what you're looking for. My name is Ali. Here's a bit about my experience. So now you're talking about your experience. And then show some actual results that you have done in the past. Like share screen those results. I would show the Facebook Ads Manager and I would show some things I've done in the past. You might show a PowerPoint. You might show, you know, Google Analytics. You might show anything that is relevant to your skill set. Showcase your portfolio. And mention that you care about client performance, right? So for me, I would always say I'm not just a digital marketer. I actually care about generating an ROI for my clients. I'm not interested in working with clients for just 1 or 2 months. I want to work with them for years. And the only way to do that is to generate a positive ROI for you. So this really does matter to me. Just a little sentence like that can go a long way because it shows, hey, like this person's experience, he's made a Loom video specifically for me. And he's showing that he clearly cares about generating ROI because it benefits him. So it's a win-win situation. Our interests are aligned. And that goes a long way. And that is essentially it, guys. Like a sales call on Upwork doesn't need to be super complicated, but it does need structure. The last thing you want to do is go in and just say, okay, so you want this, right? I can do it. This is how much I charge. It's going to be very difficult to have a high close rate this way. This is the structure I used. And so I hope this video was valuable to you and I hope it improves your sales closing rate in the future.